G'day everyone, my name is Dave, and today I want to talk about fear. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, God tells us that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom, but what does that even mean? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how a single Hebrew word can not only explain the meaning of this kind of fear, but also how it can actually help you follow Jesus. Hey folks, welcome to Israel U, where we know the Bible can be confusing and you want to get more out of it, which is why we want to teach you some simple Hebrew words that will transform the way you read the Bible. In Proverbs 9, we read that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. But what does that mean? To be honest, I grew up thinking that to fear the Lord meant being scared of Him, but it's actually so much more than that. You see, one of the words we translate as fear throughout the Bible is the Hebrew word Yirah. But this is a different kind of fear than what you probably expect. You see, this word Yirah more fully means awe. Now, I don't mean awe as in the oar of a boat. I mean awe, A-W-E, like to be in awe of something. Look, let me explain. How do you feel when you're watching a sunset? Do you feel fear? No, you feel awe, right? Maybe you experience reverence or wonder. Maybe you even feel like worshiping. Well, in that moment, you're experiencing the meaning of the word Yirah. You experience awe when you see God at work like this. And here's an interesting thing about this word Yirah. It has the same root as the Hebrew word ra'ah, which means to see or to look. In fact, an example of how these two words are connected can be found in Genesis 22, after Abraham passes a test of obedience. Now, in the story, God sees Abraham's faith and says, "Now I know that you fear God, seeing that you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." And after God says this, we read that Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him was a ram. And Abraham went and took the ram and offered it up as a burnt offering instead of his son. So Abraham called the name of that place, "The Lord will provide." Now, in this passage, the word Yirah conveys the connection between Abraham's fear/awe of God and how that leads him to see that God will provide for him. And Jesus talked about this sort of connection too, when he said that if we seek first God's kingdom and His righteousness, all these things will be given to you as well. By looking for God's kingdom, we get to experience the awe of knowing that He will provide for all of our needs. But author Lisa Bevere rightly points out that we're a generation that has been stripped of our awe. Now, Scripture tells us that having Yirah towards God is the beginning of wisdom, which means we have to regain our sense of awe and reverence toward God. Let's be honest. It's easy to get so caught up in the stresses and worry and concerns of life, especially during a global pandemic, that we forget to look for the amazing things God is doing in our lives. But the authors of the Bible encourage us to be open to awe. They remind us that a wise person comes before God and simply stands in awe of Him. See, if we can regain our sense of awe and reverence for God, that will lead to wisdom, and wisdom will lead us to live according to His plans. When was the last time you experienced Yirah? When did you last stand in awe of God? When was the last time you felt so moved by a sense of reverence for God that your only response was to worship Him? As a team, our prayer for you today is that you will experience God's presence in a way that causes you to simply stand in awe of Him. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If this content was helpful for you, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so already. And make sure you follow us on social media. And if you'd like to see more videos just like this one, make sure you check out israelu.org.